Frontaya.
Swing. Parenting can seem a thankless gig. First, you and your partner track down a dead body. Next, the two of you work together to bury it. And it's often many times the size of your own body. If it starts to rot or you start to snack on this body, cover the stench of decomposition with your own animal secretions so that other hungry, desperate, overworked parents don't come looking for your lunch. This all before your kids are even born. That is, if you're a sylphid beetle.
So they're commonly called burying. And in England, they're called sexton beetles. Sextons are people who bury the dead. And that's what these beetles do.
Derek Sykes is the curator of insects and a professor of entomology at the University of Alaska Fairbanks Museum of the North. A study he and a colleague recently published in the Journal of Zoology explores the parental behavior of these undertaking beetles.
Yeah, so they bury dead vertebrates, like a dead bird or mouse, and they'll work together as a male-female team to get it down underground, and they try to find it when it's really fresh, sometimes within hours of death, before there's any noticeable smell to humans.
In his lab, Sykes opened a cabinet door and slides out a drawer filled with black and orange armored beetles.
This is a world collection, so I've traveled all around the world and collected these in various parts of Asia. They're primarily found in the northern hemisphere, and when they do occur in the southern hemisphere, it's usually on mountaintops, which gives us a concern for them for climate change because they're very cold adapted. Mountaintops in the tropics are becoming warmer and warmer. They're going to have to move up slope, and they may eventually lose habitat entirely.
Wow, now, some of them are very big.
So that big one that you're pointing at is commonly called the American burying beetle. And there's a few giant species in this genus.
This big one is about the size of my thumb, all black with plates of armor, exoskeleton, laid out across its back. Other burying beetles have orange, jagged stripes on their backs. Some are about the size of a sunflower seed or even smaller. Sylphid beetles belong to the subfamily Microphorinae, and parenting beetles don't just simply bury small dead creatures and leave. Lurking in the shadows of the forest floor where these bugs roam, there's a lot of competition. Other hungry beetles and lots of vertebrate scavengers, all looking to feast on the same things sylphids love to eat.
But if more than one male or female find it, they'll fight with each other. And so there'll be these beetle battles, right? And it's the largest beetles, invariably, that win these fights and drive off their competitors until you have the largest male and the largest female who work together to dig underneath the carcass and get it down into a crypt. They try to do this as fast as possible because the clock is ticking. There's blowflies, there's vertebrate scavengers, there's all kinds of things that want to eat a small dead carcass. So they try to monopolize it, try to get it entirely for themselves.
The sylphid so fiercely protects its food source because the eggs it lays will also feed on whatever's buried in its seeming crypt. Sykes says the reproductive output of this particular kind of beetle is low compared to other insects, which is all the more reason they try to keep their food hidden.
Yeah, parental care in beetles is pretty rare.
Alongside behavioral ecologist Steve Trumbo at the University of Connecticut, Sykes discovered that the better the beetles prove to be as parents, the better they are at concealing their crypt-turned-pantry from other creatures who might be feeling peckish.
Think about it. When a bird or mouse dies and it begins to rot, the more smelly it becomes, the more things can find it quickly.
That smell? To be honest, it's coming from microbe farts, what the researchers call volatiles, that result from the decomposition process. But sylphids don't want any other competition to know their food is rotting.
What we've discovered is that the excretions and secretions of these beetles help conceal the scent from their competitors. And close relatives that aren't in this group, when they manipulate a carcass, And when we put those out in the field, they are more easily found by burying beetles than control carcasses that haven't been manipulated. So this is a clear example that the beetles are doing something special to conceal the smell of the carcass.
There are only about 70 species of burying beetles in the world. Sykes says that's a low number within the insect kingdom, and he believes that might be directly related to the parental care they offer their young.
So in most insects, there's very little parental care. A female, like a mosquito, it's usually limited to just choice of where they're going to put the eggs. You're going to put the eggs in a place that should give them a good chance of survival, the preferred habitat, But with these beetles and some other insects that show parental care, the adults are spending a lot of time with their offspring as they're developing, and doing interesting things like sharing their microbiome.
And though we're only now just discovering the lengths to which sylphid parents go for their brood, beetles, it appears, learned their morbid tricks while avoiding the footfalls of ancient creatures like the Tyrannosaurus rex.
We estimate it was in Asia in the probably Cretaceous when this first evolved.
After 100 million years or so of practice, burying beetle parents have the job down cold, but also stench-free and ready for eating.
OK， 今天这一篇我其实没有听得很懂，但就是他说，他后面有说到说，他死掉之后的尸体要把它埋起来，因为会有味道，然后人家就会过来，然后就像他在藏食物什么的之类的，对，然后还有关于说他会选他下蛋的地方，会增加他们存活，因为他们很在乎他们的后代之类的，差不多，因为我没有听到很多。
非常会不太懂然后他就有说关于讲一些关于什么好像有提到什么味道之类的，然后他们要试图去隐藏味道，然后对，然后真的就听不太清楚，对啊，就这样对。